Hey friends, welcome back to Confidence and Coffee, where we keep it real, raw, and a little bit caffeinated. I'm your host, Ashley Henriott, speaker, author, and your go-to hype girl for when life feels like a lot. Around here, we talk about things that keep you up at night. Self-doubt, fear, people-pleasing, faith, and finding your voice again, without the fluff. So grab your coffee, pull up a seat, and let's talk about stuff that actually matters. Hey you guys, we're laughing because we have my friend, we're not laughing because Tami Stackelhouse is here, but me trying to say fibromyalgia because that is what she is on a mission for those that struggle. I'm so honored to have her here and her message because she can speak to you guys in a way that I cannot. She can speak from an experience that I cannot. And she's a wellness expert. I mean, she knows what she's talking about. She's an award-winning author, and she's helping
Fibro works.
fibromyalgia patients take back control of their lives and health. I'm really excited because she knows what she's talking about. I mean, Tami, you also were the director producer of Invisible, which was a documentary about this. And then you have two really successful books, and we're going to talk about those. And ultimately, they all are going to connect with the message for you guys. And her books, you guys, are called, she'll tell you, and we'll talk about them in the end if you missed it. But the books are called Take Back Your Life and the Fibromyalgia Coach. And so if you're watching live, because that's what we do on TikTok, if you guys ever want to watch behind the scenes, you got to go subscribe. It's $3 a month, and you can ask our beautiful guests Q&As, which you don't get an opportunity to do anywhere else. And so remember, share, love, like, and follow, because you never know what you could be doing by sharing that and helping another person who really needs this message and maybe doesn't have access, and it's you who's supposed to send them this resource. Tami, hey girl.
Hey, so
Okay.
good to be here, Ashley. I have been looking forward to this, so I'm thrilled to be here.
I'm honored that you've been looking forward to talking to my awkwardness, but listen, you have had your own journey with this.
Yeah.
And I would love for you to talk about the why, right? Like in regard of like your own journey and how you feel like, because I know we talked just briefly and you talk about it in your book about doctors aren't trained and people don't know if there's hope. And people kind of get stuck in that way of like, this is who I am. This is what I struggle with. And you share your story of redemption and hope and that you can get better. Would you tell us like behind the realm of what motivated you to really get your message out there?
Yeah. So I think the biggest thing that motivated me was just how I felt, right? When I was lost and struggling and frustrated and trying to find answers and nobody had anything good to tell me, right? So, I was diagnosed, gosh, when was that? 2007. And I had been experiencing symptoms, maybe 5 years before I was finally diagnosed. So to finally find answers. And I even asked a doctor at one point, could this be fibromyalgia? And the nurse that I was sending the message to, I had a couple other things in there. And her reply was like, I don't know what that is, but why don't you come in? Needless to say, I did not make that appointment. I did not feel very encouraged.
Are you kidding me?
No. Now, this would have been way back in like the early 2000s.
But still.
Oh yeah. Not something any patient wants to be told. Well, I don't know what that is, but why don't you come in? And yeah. So that really remembering those moments and even now, anytime I mean, we all have days we want to quit, right? I mean, I'm sure you do. And those days, the thing that keeps me going is thinking about that person that is out there and is lost and frustrated and feels like I felt in that moment. And she's why I do this.
Yeah. Immediately when you brought up the, doctor not knowing, I thought of how many more people have suffered because there's not a lot of awareness about this. Would you agree that there's not not a lot of people are talking about this, but a lot of people are
Oh, yeah.
struggling with it.
Yes. Fibromyalgia, the statistics that we know of, and there could be a lot of more people with fibromyalgia that we don't know about, right? But the people that we do know, it is about 6.4% of the population, which works out to 1 in 16 people. It's a little bit higher in women than men, so it's actually 1 in 13 women. That's
Really? So
a
it's kind of,
lot.
yeah.
Yeah, 1 in 13 women. So, and like you said, people just aren't talking about this. As many women as have fibromyalgia, like just to put this in perspective, I think breast cancer is maybe 1 in 8, and I think colon cancer is maybe 1 in 20. So it's more common than colon cancer. But after you get to a certain age, you're getting your screenings, every so often, right? And that's not happening at all with fibromyalgia. When we were making the film, it was so difficult for us to find the funding that we needed to make the movie, because people just like, this isn't, I don't know, it's not sexy. It's just not something people want to talk about. But we have to. We have to talk about it.
Yeah. Man, that is, and I love how you describe it in your own experience is like, it's because I don't know what it's like. I even have people right now in the chat, live chat, that are saying they have it,
Mm,
and we're told there's no cure,
yep.
like right now.
Yep.
And so I love how you talked about you feel like you're a prisoner inside your own body. That resonated with me when you said that,
Yeah.
because you had struggled for years before you even were, diagnosed. This was even a
That's
thing.
right. Yep. Yep.
And you talked about how severe your symptoms were. Now, please educate me, but does everybody have pretty similar symptoms, pretty similar pain points, or are they different? And what was your experience?
So there are a bunch of similarities, and then there are also, I mean, like most things, right? Like there's a lot that's the same, but we're all unique individuals too, right?
Yeah.
So the main symptoms of fibromyalgia are widespread body pain. So you hurt everywhere. The thing about fibro pain is that it travels. So your legs might hurt one day, and then it's your neck, and then it's your arm, and then it's your back, right? So it moves around a lot. We also have fatigue, right? So we're tired, and not just like your regular level of tired. This is the kind of tired where, like, you remember old cell phones, you'd charge them all night long and they'd last maybe an hour. That's what our fatigue is
And
like.
then
We
if you
don't
try the same
exactly.
time,
Yeah, yeah.
oh, I
So
remember.
we've got fatigue like that, like we just don't have the energy levels, right? We have unrefreshing sleep, which just means you could sleep for 12 hours and wake up and feel like you didn't sleep at all. And then brain fog, right? So your brain just doesn't work the way that you want it to. And those are really like the main fibro symptoms, but most of us also have headaches and IBS and thyroid issues, and like there's a lot of stuff. And so I think what can make fibromyalgia difficult to diagnose and difficult to treat is those differences, right? Like it might look a little bit different in you than it does in me, and what works for you might not work for me. And so it can make it a real challenge. That doesn't mean that there aren't answers, and we'll talk about that today, I'm sure. But yeah, it is both individual and has similarities.
Do you know 3 women just came in here? Makes me want to cry and are struggling with that. Just came in the chat.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't see you, but I see you. There are just so many of us, and we're not getting the answers that we want from our doctors. They don't know what to do with us. Even if we find a doctor who can diagnose us, more often than not, we're told, okay, you have fibromyalgia, but I don't treat that. So can you imagine being in the doctor's office, getting a diagnosis, and then being told, but I don't treat that, and I don't really know where to send you either.
No. You know what? Somebody just said you feel invisible. She wrote it. She has a documentary about that.
Yep. Yep.
Wow.
That's actually the name of it,
I've
Invisible.
never had a chat so engaged, Tammy. Like, I've never had a
Mm.
chat this engaged already, and we haven't even gotten there. So I'm just a little shocked because normally they know I pay attention to my guests, but I'm just like,
Yeah.
it's overwhelming.
Yeah. And people don't know. it boggles my mind sometimes. I mean, I've experienced it, so I know it's real, right? But it also boggles my mind that we can have something that affects so many people and nobody's talking about it. I mean, this is why I started reaching out to people like you to say, hey, can I come talk about this? Because nobody is.
Yeah.
Right? Yesterday, as we record this, yesterday, May 12th, was a Fibromyalgia Awareness Day. And one of the things that we've been working on is actually getting a governor's proclamation in each state saying that we're honoring fibromyalgia during the month of May 12th. So, yeah. So if people don't know what that means, it's an official document that the governor signs and says, hey, this is a real deal. We're celebrating. Celebrating is kind of the wrong word when you're talking about fibromyalgia, but
You're
we're
creating
honoring it this day.
awareness, you're honoring, you're validating, you're seeing.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. And so
Wow.
we're working on getting all 50 states. I think we're somewhere around maybe 30 right now.
That's
So,
amazing.
yeah. Yeah.
What can we do to help with that? Like, is there anything that, like,
Yeah, there are actually, because this is something that's done by the governor of the state, it needs to be somebody who lives in that state that makes the
Mhm.
request. And we can absolutely help you do that. We've got all the things to make it super easy, but we still need somebody in the state. And off the top of my head, I'm not sure which states. I don't have that list in my head. But if you find me on social media, I've been sharing a map every Saturday, and if you see that your state is white, we would love your help. We can't control whether the governor says yes or no, but we can control if we apply. And so we would love your help to at least get applications put in for that in all 50 states. So, yeah.
Wow. Wow. Well, I'm going to be praying for you. Did you guys do Virginia?
Yes. And I think we might have gotten Virginia. If
Okay.
I can multitask, I'll look
I
that
was
up
like,
while we're
girl, what
talking.
do I need to do over here, girl?
Yes. Yeah.
Mm.
Sometimes it feels like, it's just a piece of paper, right? But it's not. It is a chance to get people talking, right? I mean, the governor's going to know about fibromyalgia when we send the thing in, but also when we are talking, and yes, we do have Virginia. When we're talking with lawmakers, the people who are deciding where funding goes for research, when we're talking about laws and all of that kind of stuff, having these governor proclamations really helps to be able to say, hey, look, you know, our governors are saying this is important. If you're talking to a state senator or a congressman, right, that the governor of our state has made this proclamation. So, yeah,
Wow.
we're working on it.
Yeah. So back to your story, something interesting you talk about is that, like, after years of suffering, and going and seeing, doctor after doctor, it wasn't till you actually a doctor connected you with a health coach.
Yes, that I finally started to get better. So, yeah. So the first struggle was, of course, just to find somebody who could give me answers, right? And then the second struggle was actually getting better because just getting that diagnosis isn't really enough, right? And so, a couple years after my diagnosis, I'm still noticing that I am barely treading water. Right. Like I am not really getting better. I'm not getting worse, but I'm not really getting better. And if life keeps going like this, like it is just all downhill from here. And that is not a fun place to be, right? When you get that vision of your life and it's all downhill from here. So I had gone to my doctor and said, hey, this life is not going the way I want it to go. What can we do? Is there anything we can do to turn it around? And she introduced me to a health coach in her office. And I started working with her. And I tell you what, 6 months later, my life was totally different. That health coach didn't know anything about fibromyalgia. So it wouldn't be like working with me or one of my coaches. You'd get a heads up even there. Have a few steps ahead. But having her help me like hold me accountable, right? For going to
Yeah.
bed on time and things like that. Or helping me figure out, okay, doctor wants me to go gluten free. How the heck do I do that? Right? Like the practical parts of it. Or even just strategizing like, oh my goodness, I've got this I'm traveling next week. How am I going to do this and not end up just feeling terrible, right? And having somebody to bounce those ideas off of, to strategize with, and like I said, just hold me accountable. That's when things finally started to change. A lot of the treatment things that I had were already in place, but all the lifestyle stuff, right? Us taking care of ourselves, that's so hard to do sometimes because life happens. And that really changed everything for me. And so 6 months later, when I'm feeling a whole lot better, I'm like, I want to help other people the same way that she helped me. And so that's actually why I became a coach.
That was like the fire flame for you.
Yep. Yep, exactly.
Yeah.
And I tell you what, Ashley, I can't always tell this story in all the places that I go and talk, but I can here. The very first time, as a brand new coach, the very first time I was talking to somebody on the phone who had fibromyalgia, I literally hung up the phone and felt like I needed to take off my shoes, kneel on the ground. This was that burning bush moment. The heavens opened and the angels were singing, like, this is it. And it was just such a magical moment, and just such a confirmation that this is who I need to be helping and what I need to be doing. Yeah. Yeah.
That says a lot about God's calling too,
Yeah.
is that we're all meant to help someone. We're all meant for people, right? To inspire people with our testimonies and our experiences to bring back to Him, but also, like, that's how God's calling should be. It should feel natural. And
Mhm.
a lot of it connected too, like, and when I connect these kind of pieces, is that your pain became your purpose.
I mean, I was not a little girl thinking, "Oh, someday I'm gonna have, like, a fibromyalgia empire." Right? Like, no. And, it was really funny too because, I was diagnosed, how old was I? I was maybe 30, I think. And, up until that point, I didn't really know what my purpose was in life. Like, some of it I knew, like, I'm an encourager, like, no matter what I'm doing, I'm encouraging people, right? So I
Yeah.
knew who I was from that sort of sense, but, like, I don't know, I worked at a TV repair shop. I worked at a software company. Like, I did all these things, but none of them were like the thing. And it
Yeah.
wasn't until I got fibromyalgia, got so sick, went on disability, climbed my way back out of it, that now I know what I'm here for.
Man. And do you talk about that in your book? The one book that really drew me, and I want to talk about both of them, but was the Taking Back Your Life. I want to talk about that. You talk about some of these practical health changes in that book and creating the self-awareness, like not just awareness in the world, but, validating others in their pain and taking them through that and being like, you're not alone. And I love what you said before we hit record. I love that you said you want people to just know there's hope and that they can, get over this. Would you say that that is what really led you to writing your book, was you getting your life back and helping others find theirs?
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's really the reason why I do everything, right? When I worked with my coach after those first 6 months, I felt like I had been given this beautifully wrapped gift of my life back, right? And I felt like I was walking around holding this gift, right? And I just wanted to share it with other people because we're not given that hope. That is not what we are told when we are diagnosed. We're told things like, get used to your new normal, or there's not a whole lot we can do for this, right?
Yeah.
There's no cure. And while there is no cure, there is a lot we can do. You just need to find the people that know what to do, right? And so at a certain point, I mean, I was working as a one-on-one coach. I had started coaching myself in 2009. And so my book didn't come out until 2015. So for those first 6 years, I was working with people one-on-one, doing great stuff, but there's still only so many hours in the day, right? Only so much of me to go around. And there are millions of people with fibromyalgia, right? In other countries, speaking other languages. There's no way that I could help all of them. And so my book was kind of the first step of figuring out how I could take what is up here and in here and share it with more people, right? Because
Yeah.
it doesn't, you can buy a book. It's not expensive. You can rent it, check it out from the library, and it's a way for people to get help that maybe couldn't work with me one on one. And one of the things that I actually do now is, if you want to, you can go to my website and you can download a copy of that book for free, because that's what it's for, is to help people. I mean, yeah, if you want to go buy a copy, that's cool too. But really, I want to help as many people as possible and get that message out to as many people as possible. And that book then became the curriculum, the textbook, so to speak, for the training program that I offer now for people who want to become a certified fibromyalgia coach and then help other people. And one of the greatest gifts that I have is when I see somebody who has been helped by one of my coaches, right? I've got coaches in a bunch of different countries speaking different languages. And when I see them helping people that I never could have helped, right? Like, that's what it's all about. Yeah.
Wow. Can I ask you about what is the cause? Like, do you know, or have you studied or researched? Like, is it genetic? I don't know. Or,
Yes. That's a great question. There is a genetic component. We do see that if you have a first degree relative with fibromyalgia, you're 8 times more likely to develop fibro. So, parent, child, brother, sister. And so there is a genetic component, and we have associated some genes with fibromyalgia. But I'll tell you, my 20 in me says, no, you don't have that gene, but I still have fibromyalgia. So it's not everything. We're still looking. And I really think that fibromyalgia is like, the parable of the blind men and the elephants, right? Where they're all feeling like parts of the elephant, and they're like, it's a wall, it's a snake, it's a fan, it's a tree, right? That's kind of where we're at with fibromyalgia. There are things that we know about fibromyalgia, but we still haven't been able to like trace it all down to like a specific gene or a specific mechanism that's happening in the body. There's a lot of things that we know, but we don't really know totally what causes it. There seems to be, most people have some kind of a trauma, whether that is a car accident or child abuse, or in my case, a very stressful job for 9 years. So there's some sort of a trigger,
wow.
but two people can be in the same car accident and one might have fibromyalgia and one might not, right? So it's not like direct cause and effect, but it's like in certain people the trauma sort of unlocks it, if that makes sense. Right? Like the
Mm.
potential is there, and then the trigger sort of unlocks it.
I want to ask you a bold question that just
Yeah.
came to me, because you talk about the car accident and like you compared it to like somebody may not.
Mhm.
And I'm thinking like of a million people, right? Do you think that the lack of the awareness of this and the education could be also a big contributor to addiction and substance abuse, in regard of like people self-medicating because of the pain, because of the fatigue, because of,
Yeah.
the struggles that like, and you have people telling, I don't know what to tell you.
Right, right.
Like, do you ever wonder if that's a huge contributor to depression, anxiety, but also self-medicating?
I think so. I think so. There have been a lot of clients that I've worked with just on their own. They have decided to give up alcohol. I mean, as a coach, I'm not going to tell you what to do. I'm going to educate you, but you still have the choice, right? I can't make you do anything. So but I've had a lot of clients who are like, I don't think this is helping me. But they've been doing it, like you
Mm.
said, to self-medicate, right? They're not getting the help that they need. They are in pain. And so what are you going to do? I mean, you're going to do something, right?
Yeah.
Some people self-medicate with food. Some people alcohol, drugs, prescription medications, even escaping into books or TV or movies or, whatever it is. We all find ways to cope, and they're not always the healthiest, right?
Yeah.
But at the same time, like, you got to do something, right?
Yeah. Yeah. It just, I just ever like, I just immediately think of that because my mother, we got into a car accident and she was already struggling with addiction, because she was bipolar schizophrenia.
Mm,
They didn't talk about it when she was a kid.
right.
They didn't talk about mental illness. Right? It's like we don't want to talk about invisible diseases.
No, no. And we don't like to talk about chronic diseases either, right? It's one thing if get a cold or whatever and you're sick and then you get better. But as a culture, as a society, I think especially as Christians, we struggle with those chronic things that don't go away, right? Like you might have people who are, bring you a casserole or whatever, right? Like people are taking care of you, you're going through cancer. But like when it's over, right? And with something like fibromyalgia, it's not over, right? And so it can be, and then there's also the struggle of some days you look fine and you can do things and you feel okay, and some days not. So, like in church, like sometimes you'll show up, sometimes you won't because it's a bad day, right? And when you show up, you're only showing up because it's a good day, right? And so people think you're okay because they only ever see you when you're okay. And
Yeah.
then, you know,
Yeah, and I think what you're doing is creating the awareness and the transparency and that's what it takes, right? Like, we don't want people to just see highlights and when we're okay. It
that's
is
right.
vital for us to truly show every aspect of being a human, especially that struggles with this chronic disease, because if they see just when you're okay, then they're going to believe that they should just be okay and they're not. And
That's right.
that's going to make them feel even more isolated and disconnected when we need to lean on each other in these kind of times. And I just can't imagine somebody that struggles the way you struggled. And in your own journey, you talk about you developed a fibromyalgia wellness framework. Do you want to talk about that a little bit?
Yes, I would love to, because it's one thing to sit here and say there's things you can do to feel better, but what? You know what I mean? So like let's
I
get a
know.
little bit more specific.
I'm practical. Yeah, I'm a
I
practical
love it. I
person.
love it. So, yeah, the framework, we start off with sort of an assessment, right? So, we use something called the Fibromyalgia Impact Questionnaire. We actually sort of measure your fibromyalgia, like where are you at right now? We look at your fibromyalgia wellness style, which is actually based off of your personality and the specific challenges that you might have because of how you were made. We look at, there might be tests that we suggest your doctor run, things like that. So the first part of that is just that assessment. The second part, then we take that information and we sort of build a plan. Okay, we need to work on your sleep. There's definitely something going on there. So we need to get you a sleep study. Here's the things we're going to work on. We just sort of begin making the plan. So that's part two. Part three, then, of course, is implementing that plan. Most of us cannot do that on our own. Not that we're not capable, but like most of us need accountability, right? Most of us need encouragement. When you're dealing with a lot of fatigue and brain fog, it's hard to maybe evaluate on your own. Is this working? Is this not working? Do I need to do something different? Do I need to just keep going? Right. And so, implementing then that plan with support with somebody who understands, who can help you, figure out
Yeah.
what to adjust. And then I believe the fourth part of that framework is taking that and paying it forward, whether it's just, sharing some resources with
Oh,
someone or becoming a coach or whatever it is. This happened to you. And if you find a way out, I kind of feel like we have a little bit of a responsibility to share that.
that's brilliant.
Yeah.
Like, that's brilliant. Like, the way you're explaining your framework, it's basically like this beautifully checklist map and guide to like helping you really like overcome this and have a life. Like,
Yeah.
you know what I'm
And
saying?
that's what it's all about, is having that life, right? I get the opportunity to talk to medical students from time to time. And one of the things that I always try to get across to them is any conversation you're having with your patients, whether it's adjusting medication or recommending acupuncture or physical therapy or whatever it is, the conversation is not about therapies or medication. The conversation is about your patient's ability to go out and live their lives, right?
Mm-hmm.
The pain isn't the problem. The problem is what the pain keeps me from being able to do, right? The
Mm.
problem isn't that I'm tired. The problem is that I can't be the mom that I want to be. I can't travel with my husband the way I want to. Whatever, it is for you. It's your ability to live your life that is the problem that needs to be solved. Fibromyalgia is a part of that, but there is so much that we can do to just think about things different, do things differently. I mean, yes, there are things wrong in your body we've got to fix for sure. But also, the expectations we set on ourselves,
Yeah.
right? There's just so much that, again, I think especially as Christians, the Proverbs 31 woman didn't do us many favors. She did not have fibromyalgia.
I love that so much. I love that so much. Um, you know what I love about you though is that this is how you know you're a true advocate is that you don't just educate about it and you're not just helping people with it, but you're helping people help other people. Like you have a program in which you train others to become a coach in this area. Do you want to talk
Mhm.
about that? I mean, that's
Yes, I would love to talk about that. So it really, like I said earlier, my book partly was written to become the textbook for that because I had gotten to this point where I knew I couldn't help everybody, right? So how do I go about duplicating myself?
mm,
And so I had this idea to start training other people in this modality that I created and, figured out kind of on my own. And it's been amazing over the last 10 years watching people. So many people decide to become coaches, partly because they just want to, but also because maybe they had a career that they can no longer do. So maybe they were teachers and they just can't
mhm.
do that anymore, or nurses, right?
I
Very
was a
physical
teacher.
job. Yeah, exactly. And you can imagine that. I mean, there's the the brain part of things as I'm stumbling over my words, great example. But like maybe your brain just isn't cooperating, right? If you've got brain fog being a nurse and you can't remember things, or like it can be dangerous even, right? There's the fatigue, there's the pain, all of those things. But in addition to that, there's also just working and living on a schedule that somebody else made for you, right? Like my fibromyalgia has been in remission for almost 10 years now, and I don't think I could go work a 40-hour job for somebody else on the hours that they set, using the schedule that they set under fluorescent lights, right? Like being able to have your own job, set your own hours, decide who, when, how, where, all of that. There isn't anything in my work life that I don't have control over, right? If
Mm.
something's not working, I can change it, right?
Yeah. And when you have fibromyalgia, like it's like having a baby almost like it's like, oh, that's funny.
My
Like think
fibro
about it,
baby.
like but think about it, like, oh, that's
Yeah.
funny. Your schedule can be no,
Yep.
that's not how it works. Like the baby's gonna wake up and be hungry when the baby wants to, and you have this chronic pain that it's like, I can't control that,
That's right.
you know?
Exactly.
And
Yep.
it just creates more stress and it interconnects with depression and anxiety and hopelessness and it
Mhm.
just like malfunctions everything. It
Absolutely.
it definitely is feeling like a prisoner in your own body the way you explained. Is that what your second book is about, The Fibromyalgia Coach? You wanna talk about
Yes. Yes. So the fibromyalgia coach is honestly started. I had a client that I was working with, and we had done a lot of really good work, and she was feeling a lot better. But the requirements at her job sort of kept her like stuck at a certain place. Like we just couldn't get beyond it because of the demands of her job. And so that kind of started my thinking around all of this and around figuring out what work is actually going to help you feel better, not help you feel worse. Because I think so many people, their job is the thing that is sort of keeping them unwell or even making them unwell. And so the fibromyalgia coach, there are 8 key questions in there to sort of help you evaluate, what do you need? How social do you need your job to be? My husband would be great working all by himself in a room with nobody else. I couldn't do that. Right? So looking at that, how physical, right? Doing heavy lifting or standing or sitting or whatever, right? How physical. The mental aspects of it, thinking about how much work you want. Some things are very seasonal, and like maybe you don't want to work retail because Christmas gets nuts and you just can't handle that extra volume, right? And just helping people think through all of these things to help them figure out what work might be best for them. Now, my answer, of course, is being a coach. And I do talk about that in the book. But really, the point of the book is helping you figure out what you need, what's going to help you feel your best. What does work need to look like for you?
That's so good. So, what would be the process of like, okay, I resonate with everything you're saying, Tami. How can I connect with you? How can I, not only get the book, which I'm assuming you can get anywhere, but connect with you in the way that they feel led to coach and help others in this area? Like, what is the process for that?
Yes. So the first thing I would say, an easy way to connect would be my podcast, right? If you're listening to this, watching this, you're a podcast person, right? So Fibromyalgia Podcast, anywhere you can listen to podcasts, you'll find that. That's a great place to start. The other thing that I would recommend doing, of course, is checking out those books. And we've got a lot of free resources. The podcast website is a great place to grab those for free and to figure out your fibromyalgia wellness style. And that's just fibromyalgiapodcast.com. You'll see resources in the menu. And then from there, you are feeling like you want to work with a coach, we can help match you up to a coach. We actually, when is this? Well, there are people watching live now, right?
Yeah.
So if you're getting this during the month of May, we actually have a special right now for Fibromyalgia Awareness Month for meeting with a coach. So you'll see that if you go out there for that. And then if you're interested in becoming a coach, we've got a lot of information on that as well. And the thing that I would recommend that you do if you're sort of thinking about that is look for our Be a Coach special series. And that is on the Fibromyalgia Podcast website. So fibromyalgiapodcast.com, and you'll see Be a Coach in the menu. And we've got it's like a 4-episode little mini series that will tell you what the process is, what the training's like, who makes a good coach, what a coach does, all of that.
If there was anything that you would want an audience member or somebody listening, whoever that does not have fibromyalgia, how can
Mm.
they connect with people that do? How can we relate with them? How can we see them? How can we support them? Like, what is one piece of advice you would, well, it could be more than one, that you would tell us?
Yeah. So I think the first thing is just fibromyalgia is real, right? Sometimes it can look not real because we have good days and bad days. And it's like, you could do that yesterday.
Yeah.
So just know it is real. There are really physical things going wrong in the body that need to be fixed. This is not a mental illness, right? So that's number one. If you want to explore and learn more about fibromyalgia, I think the best place to start if you don't have fibromyalgia is the documentary. It's called Invisible. We've got links to that on the website as well. You can rent it on Amazon Prime. It's available, I think, for free on Tubi. But that will really give you a good idea of what fibromyalgia is. The premise of the film, Nick, who is also our director, his mom has fibromyalgia. And so he sort of sets out on a journey to learn about fibromyalgia so he can better support his mom. And along the way, one of the things I tell him in my interview with him is, hey, if your mom has fibromyalgia, you're 8 times more likely to have fibromyalgia. And so he kind of does his own little personal journey there. But that will give you, it's just really, it's just really good for people who don't have fibromyalgia to understand a little bit better. There are several different patient stories in there. And so you see people like me who have fibromyalgia in remission, and you see people like Johan who, like, are barely making it and don't have the support that they need. So you see the full spectrum there. So
And
that
this
would be
is
the
in the
first thing that
documentary, right?
yes. Yep. Yep.
Invisible.
That's in the documentary. Yeah. So, and that, if you're listening to this and you have fibromyalgia, have your family watch it with you. It is a great way to get that conversation started and help them understand you better.
Yeah, that's good. I'm
Yeah.
gonna go watch it personally because, I have
I would love to
friends.
know what you think after you see it, Ashley.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if you could give anybody just in general, like without, maybe they don't know, maybe they're listening, they're like, I think that's what I have. If there's one sentence you could tell them, and I know that's really hard, with something as complex as this, what would it be?
There is hope. If I can only say one sentence, that's it. There is hope.
Yes, there's hope. Tammy, where can everybody find you? We talked about the podcast website. We talked about your website. You have free resources all over your website. I've already
I
looked
do.
at them. And you guys can get her book, Take Your Life Back, for free. She's offered it for you. If you want to buy it, that's what I would suggest. Just support her in her mission. And if you're interested in helping people in this way, because if you do struggle with this, you're the best one to help someone and meet them where they
That's
are.
right. Yep.
Go to Tami. She has plenty of resources and she's here to advocate, to guide, and to walk this journey, wherever that may be with you. Tami, are you on social media at all? Like, is there any?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. You will find me at Fibro Coach, FibroCoach, pretty much everywhere. On YouTube, it's Fibromyalgia Wellness, and we do all of our podcast interviews are out there. Interviews I've done other places are out there, so there's a lot of stuff. Yeah. It can be very debilitating. I was at a point where I was filing for disability, couldn't work, couldn't take care of myself, like on the couch in the same pajamas for a week kind of deal. There is so much that can be done. You can get better. There's so much interesting research out there. I find it super interesting to learn about all of that stuff and just really figure out, like, the bodies that we have are so amazing, and they are made to heal themselves. Like, that's how God made us.
Yeah.
And so if we can figure out what our bodies are missing and, help support them, then they naturally are going to work on healing, right?
Yeah.
So I am super passionate about all of that and really just getting the word out there to people. Like we've said all through this, that there is hope and you can get better. You just got to find the right people to help you, because your doctor, as awesome as they are, or not awesome, but your doctor's doing the best that they
Yeah.
can with what they know and what they've been trained with. And so it usually does mean going beyond your doctor to get the answers that you need. But yeah, it's 24/7. There's one more thing I want to say about that, Ashley, if it's okay.
Yeah. No, go ahead.
A lot of people, like, how could you be like, your whole world revolves around fibromyalgia? Like, how can you handle that? Right? It sometimes would feel like maybe it's really negative, right? We're talking about a debilitating condition for people. But for me, the conversation isn't really about, like, yes, it's about fibromyalgia, but it's not really about being sick with fibromyalgia. It's about getting better. And so my focus is really on shifting that thinking from focusing on your illness, focusing on fibromyalgia, and focusing on your healing, your getting better. And so it's a shift that really honestly changes everything, right? If you think about, I'm not going to go to the party tomorrow night because I'm in a lot of pain, I feel terrible, my fibro won't let me, right? That is very different than saying, I'm going to choose not to go to the party tomorrow so that I can feel better the next day.
Do you have any encouragement for the person who was told by doctors there's nothing we can do?
Just flat out, that's not true. That is just 100% not true. And that's not just me saying that. Like, there is a lot of research on fibromyalgia. Just this weekend, there was a fibromyalgia conference for Awareness Day. And one of the doctors there said, she's a fibro specialist. She says there's, at least 5 articles that come across her desk. I can't remember if it was a day or a week, but that's a lot. That's a lot of information out there. Your doctor doesn't have anything that they can do for you because you've exhausted their knowledge in the topic. But absolutely, there is so much that could be done. And I would just go out and grab a free copy of my book, Take Back Your Life. I talk a lot about the research in there and like really give you some practical, here's what you can do. So yeah, that's just not true.
Yeah, you got to advocate for yourself.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. And you may need to find a new doctor, right? If you have a doctor that doesn't know what to do with you, you may need to find a new one, but there are answers. Don't give up. Don't give up. Keep looking. They're there.
Tami, thank you so much for coming on Confidence and Coffee. This was so good. You have a word, and I'm so grateful that you shared it with our community.
Oh, thank you so much for having me, Ashley. It's been such a pleasure.
Hey, you guys, if this episode hit home, do me a favor. Screenshot it, share it to your stories, and tag me, Ashley Henriott, so I can hype you up. And if you're feeling bold, leave a review. It helps this podcast reach more women who need it. Remember, confidence isn't something we wait for. It's something you build. Keep going, keep growing, and I'll see you next time on Confidence and Coffee right here.